Shocker. Hi. So, welcome to Couple and Team Launch Week.
Yeah.
We're really excited that you're here. We're just going to have a quick chat about this book, actually.
It's one of the concepts that comes up most in all of our podcast interviews that we've ever had. The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman.
Yeah, we dropped episode 80 of the Date Forever podcast this week. And at a conservative estimate, I reckon this framework has come up in 40 of them.
Oh, I think so. I reckon at least half the time this concept's 50%. Come up. Yeah.
Oh, Dan's saying he can't hear. What's that about? I have no idea, Dan. I don't know if it's just you. Carla, can you tell us if it's just Dan or if it's both? And if anyone's joined us on Facebook, somebody has, let us know if you can actually hear us, because that would be really embarrassing if we're here just talking to ourselves and you can't actually hear us.
Yeah, that's it.
Drop a comment in, say hello. Let us know that you're here. If you're watching the replay. Oh, Manuela says she can hear fine.
On Facey.
She's joined from Facebook. So let's have a look. Oh, and Carla can hear too, Dan. So I think it's just you. Maybe check your headphones. So we're going to have a quick chat about this book here, the 5 Love Languages, written by Gary Chapman. And this is a framework that Nathan and I came across in very sort of early stage of I shouldn't say early stage of our relationship. I reckon it was like a year or two before we got married.
Yeah, it was. We got that book for our wedding, I think.
Yeah, someone gave us the book. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'd read an article about this book and this idea that we all give and receive love in different ways and not necessarily in the same way. So the way that I prefer to give love or show love is not necessarily the same way that I like to receive it, and vice versa.
Yeah.
For Nate. Yeah. So the 5 different languages are words of affirmation. So saying really nice, warm, kind, affirming things to your partner. Acts of service, so doing things that help them. One of the things that Nath helps me with a lot as an act of service is anytime I have to reformat anything in Excel or Google Sheet. Act of service.
I think Excel is one of my love languages. I don't know whether we can add a 6th, but I think Excel's up there as
yeah. And then the third one is receiving gifts. So this is my the way that I most like to receive love. Yeah. And I remember looking at the numbers, and I think that's the minority. Like, that's not the most common one to have as number 1. So receiving gifts. And for me, it's not about the tangible thing. It's just about the thoughtfulness and the care and consideration.
And the time and energy that's gone into the gift.
Yeah. Especially when it is thoughtful and personal. And then the 4th one is quality time. And that is literally the minutes. That is the exchange of time spent with that person intentionally. So like sitting side by side one another on the couch doesn't quite cut it as quality time unless you're like actively engaging with each other.
Yeah.
And then the last one is Nate's preferred way to receive love, which is physical touch. So he likes to be cuddled.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I think the really interesting thing about this whole framework, though, is that like we were showing love in these ways in our relationship from very early on, but we didn't actually have the framework to be able to put this all together. So I remember like right from the beginning of our relationship, like Sammy would always put so much effort into gifts and would really spend so much time on and thoughtfulness in all of the gifts that she would give me, or
especially early days.
Yeah,
it was very elaborate gift giving. I feel like I've toned it back like a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah.
So tell us if you know what your love language is. Drop it in the comments. Let us know what your preferred way to receive love is, but also your favorite way to give love, because you might not be like me, where you like to give gifts and receive gifts.
Well, I think for myself, like probably words of affirmation is the one that comes most easy to me in as far as giving.
Saying nice things to me.
Yeah, saying nice things. Yeah.
I think you like to hear nice things too. I think.
Yeah. it's not to say that you're only going to receive and give love in one of these languages. I think it's definitely comes down to your preferred language and then understanding your partner's love language.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we've learned about this framework is that if your partner's got a preferred love language, so Nate's being physical touch, if I was to stop physically touching him and engaging with him, like it's quite common for us to be like sitting next to each other on the couch or in the car or in the kitchen or whatever, to playfully physically touch one another. But if I was to stop doing that, the impact isn't neutral, it's actually negative. So that absence of the love language is actually quite harmful to your person. So, and that's something that I definitely learned probably the hard way while Nathan and I were in the middle of a fight, and I like physically had recoiled and distanced myself from him, and I could see that was actually far more painful than if I'd said something really awful or removed myself from the situation. But like actually not wanting to be touched by him, it's quite hurtful. So I think and like people say like physical touch is not just sex. Like let's just I feel like that we did a little asterisk there, that it's like the holding hands and things. But I know that and the same has been true for you trying to master gift giving, because I'm gonna throw the Jaeger family under the bus.
No, do it.
But they, as a whole family, terrible gift givers, in the sense that like it will be 6 months later and you'll get given a random item and someone's like, oh yeah, it's for Christmas, or it's for your birthday, or it's for your this Nate's mum and dad.
It's hereditary. It definitely runs through our whole family. Like everybody gives gifts 6 or 12 months later, or bundles things together because they have forgotten to give gifts.
This is for your Christmas and birthday and Easter, because I forgot about all three of them. So, and that was definitely something that I had to try and not take so personally, because it really did feel like you've made no effort here, like zero effort here. But like Nate's mum and dad gave us our wedding gift, which was very lovely and generous, but I think it was like 18 months after we'd been married. So I think like Nate has had some work to do I should let you talk about trying to master the art of gift giving.
It has been challenging, and I think like the gift giving, it doesn't need to be big things. And I think that's something which I've had to adapt to over time and had to kind of work on over time, because I think early on in our relationship, I could see that they were important. Well, I learned pretty quickly, I think, that they were important to you, even if we didn't have the love languages framework. But I think it was more so about realizing that it's about the thought and everything that goes into the gift as opposed to the gift itself. So much more recently, I've just been very cognizant about like whenever I venture out into the world or do something, that I try and bring back something little, just a little present or a little treat or something like that, just to be able to show love to you in your preferred love language.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have got better at it, but I also think that I've got better at asking too, and being like, can you get me a treat while you're out? Like I
feeling a little unloved.
Yeah, bring me back something from that big wide outside world. Yeah, so nice. But I think like in saying that, one of our biggest fights ever was probably around a misstep of gift giving around our wedding anniversary. So Nath clearly knew that the giving and receiving gifts is really important to me. So it's not just like here's the thing, take it. It's very much about the ritual and the exchange that goes on either side of that. It's about how thoughtfully has that gift been presented and then prepared and then presented. And it was probably only like a week or so out from our wedding anniversary, and I came home. I'd been out running some errands, and I came home to an opened delivery box, cardboard box, with my gift inside on the kitchen table. And it just totally ruined it for me. Because the story for me then became like, he really just doesn't care. He just couldn't even go to the effort of trying to hide the gift that he's purchased, even though he knows that gifts are really important to me. So even when Nath was trying to master. And admittedly, the gift itself was very, very thoughtful, but the lack of preparedness and presentation like stripped all of the love out of it for me.
And Jess, you've just popped in the comments there almost that exact same thing, that it was the lack of thought around leaving the gift out there, and yeah, it was probably just as well, it is just as detrimental, if not more detrimental, than like you physically like pulling away from me. So I think the absence of the love language is definitely something that needs to be considered, and something yeah, everyone needs to be aware of.
Yeah, but I do think it's about building like the patterns and the I guess the habit triggers into your relationship. So things like when Nathan and I are in the car, like I will very consciously, I don't like driving. So Nathan's normally driving. I'm not very good. I'm also not very good at driving. So it's probably better that he's driving. But yeah, I've tried to create a trigger and a habit that will trigger me to put my hand on the back of his head or neck or shoulder or leg or wherever it might be, which definitely did not come naturally to me at all. But it's so instant now. I can like just touch him and he makes a big gooey smile, and that's really nice. So I think I've learned to lean into that love language a lot more, and it's definitely something that you need more than I do. And doesn't always necessarily come naturally. But in saying that, I also really love that we will have a very PDA pash in public, and I really like that you will embrace that, even though some people definitely do not, and some people prefer to not to do those things in public, super public. So tell us, has anyone got one that they really struggle with? Like, I know that sometimes like you said, Nathan, with words of affirmation, it can be really hard to verbalize what you're thinking or what you're feeling about your partner or towards your partner. And then other people are like the acts of service thing, like, can't you just get someone else to do that for you or help you with that, or why can't you do that for yourself?
Why can't you do it yourself?
Whereas I know that other people really feel quite connected, and they're like, oh, my partner ironed all my shirts for me, that's so lovely, that's so thoughtful. Whereas I'm like anyone could do that.
So Manuel has popped in the comments, if we don't know our love language, do you have a site or quiz to be able to do that?
Yes. The beautiful Gary Chapman site. I think it is just the 5 love languages. Just give it a Google. But there's a really quick quiz that you can do to help you determine what your preferred love language is. But it's definitely something that I think you need to continue to practice. So there's no point like doing the quiz and then going, done that, tick box. Like, it really does have to become an embedded part of your relationship. And it's really beautiful to know how you can make your partner feel really loved, and even asking them, like, when was the last time you felt really loved by me?
Well, I think it's important too. It's important to understand your own love language, but then you also need to communicate that to your partner to make sure that they understand the way that you actually prefer to receive love.
And in saying that too, that these love languages apply to our relationship with ourselves. And I learned this reflectively when I had achieved quite a big milestone in my career, and I hadn't really acknowledged or celebrated it in any way. And then I kind of reflected back on my life and on those big milestones where I'd worked quite hard towards achieving something, that I'd tend to buy myself something or invest in something that was quite meaningful and thoughtful, that anchored that gift or that item to that achievement. So even like there were just things that I would never just buy out of ordinary, like bunch of flowers kinds of things. They were like much more sentimental type items. But when I wasn't doing that for myself, there was a real disconnect, that I wasn't loving myself in the way that I needed to be loved. So I don't know. Just saying that I'm a don't tell me, show me person. Whereas there's other people are like, I need to be told. I need to be told that you love me and you adore me and you want to cherish me forever. So, team, thank you so much for joining us. This is, of course, a big part of Couple and Team is about just learning these micro little steps about your relationship, having a commitment to doing it better. Year on year on year on year on
learning
year.
things about yourself and learning things about your partner.
Yeah. But we're hosting this chat as part of our launch week for Couple and Team. So Couple and Team is a 12-week online course designed for couples who want to invest in their relationship and learn a little bit more about themselves and their partner. And it's full of prompts to help you unpack some of these things and have some conversations. This one, as an example, is obviously Gary Chapman's framework and ideas, and we have included some more insights and tools and resources and things around this in the course, but it's packed full of all kinds of other frameworks to help you succeed at leading in your relationship, giving each other feedback, how to do conflict in a more constructive way. And we've bundled up all of the things, not all of the things, a lot of the things.
a lot of the best things.
A lot of the best things that we've learned across 14 years of our own relationship, and now more than 100 conversations with couples and experts about what works in their relationship as well. So the doors are currently wide open if you'd like to join us. I popped the link in the description, but it's fuelcollective.com.au/courses, and the doors will be open until Tuesday. So if you've got any questions about the course, what's included, what's not, how to get it, feel free to ask and reach out. Oh, Josh is asking, is there a difference between your giving love language and your receiving love language? So I really like to give in gifts, and I like do things like for Valentine's Day. I think for our whole relationship, I've given Nath a gift a day for the 14 days leading up to Valentine's Day, or just little things. But yeah, and then I like to receive in gifts as well. But I don't think that's I think that's an anomaly. Most people, I think, have a giving and a preference and a receiving preference.
Yeah.
All right, team. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
we're going
everyone.
live all week. So if you've got any questions, feel free to jump on another live and reach out. But otherwise, drop any comments or questions in the box, and we'll see you tomorrow.